Let's talk about Lucy Connolly. We've got a grab here that we'll have a listen to. Lucy Connolly is one of those many people in Britain who's been imprisoned or harassed and arrested for basically George Orwell's thought crimes. But have a listen to the grab here first.
It doesn't enable you to get to seek legal advice, and it doesn't enable you a fair trial. When you're almost like, as my barristers described it, dragging someone off their sofa, locking them up and charging them and remanding them all within a space of 24 hours, which is what they did to me. It kind of blows your mind a little, doesn't it? You're not thinking you're not thinking how you should be, how you normally would be. You're not thinking rationally, you're not thinking intelligently.
James.
And Rowan, I mean, people there need to just to give that the context. Lucy Connolly was the British housewife. She had tweeted after the Southport massacre, so a tweet that was very inflammatory, but it was only up for a few hours. And she had the knock on the door. And what she's saying there is that these documents that she finally uncovered, which they claimed were lost, which they claimed they couldn't find, reveal that they wanted to treat her as like the worst terrorist, get her into a jail cell within 24 hours so she couldn't have any sort of defense, any attempt to defend herself. This is where it is, and this is why, you know, frankly, in Australia, we need to be so careful with these hate speech laws that Labor has just pushed through with the shameful support of an awful lot of Liberals, because we know which way these things
all the
run.
Liberals, with the exception of Alex Antic, who back that, to have a couple of tweets that were deleted, and I saw the tweets, to have that treated as the same urgency as a high-level terror investigation.
Please.
It is absurd. And it wasn't just her. There were so many cases that were before a judge. There was a conviction, a sentence handed down in record time, and they were doing this to so many people that they didn't have enough space in prison. So there were some serious offenders being released early to make room for these so-called hate speech.
Well, this, as we said earlier, that satire becomes the case 20, 30 years later. George Orwell has become the playbook for how Britain is now operating. Now that is treating a thought crime as terrorism. That's straight out of 1984, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Rowan?
They are taking thoughts and they're treating them as terrorist action. What Lucy Connolly, you can argue about it, whatever she tweeted. But the point is that she is being treated as the worst of the worst when all she was doing was responding angrily to an awful event that had occurred.
And we see so many posts like that that are far worse from the left, as bad as that, and I would argue even worse, which you could argue very easily are inciting violence or are hateful, are racially motivated. And you never see that treatment from that side. This is two-tier policing, and We've got it right here as well.